Welcome to this explainer. Today, I want you to put on your senior consultant hats with me, because we're tackling something that literally every modern HR professional needs to master right now. We're talking about why meticulously mapping out your recruiting workflow is the absolute non-negotiable prerequisite to integrating any kind of AI. Look, if you're feeling the pressure to just rush out and buy the latest AI screening software simply to keep up with the trends, hit pause. Seriously. Deploying AI onto a broken, messy process doesn't magically fix it, it just scales the chaos faster than before.
Our foundational philosophy for today is pretty straightforward. You cannot improve what you do not measure. Workflow design isn't just about deploying a shiny new piece of software. It's about understanding your current operations with absolute scientific precision. Let's be real. Most recruiting teams have processes that just kind of organically evolved over the years, right? You've got a spreadsheet over here, a convoluted email thread over there, and a hiring manager's arbitrary gut feeling somewhere in the middle. To build defensible, fair, and highly effective AI workflows, you have to measure, document, and truly defend your current state first.
So, here is our playbook for today. First, we'll cover why you map first and bring in AI later. Second, the anatomy of recruiting workflows. Third, finding your handoffs and bottlenecks. Fourth, defining decision points. Fifth, measuring time and resources. And finally, avoiding common mistakes. Let's dive right in.
Starting off with Section 1. Map first, AI comes later.
To really shift your mindset here, let's do a forensic audit together. It's a great mental model. I want you to pick a real candidate who recently advanced all the way to an offer and trace their exact journey backwards. Where did their resume actually come from? Who saw it first? How long did it just sit there before someone reviewed it? Then, and honestly this is the real test, repeat this exact same process for a rejected candidate. If you don't know exactly why someone was rejected, or where it happened, well, that's a massive red flag and a critical gap you need to document.
Moving right along to Section 2, the anatomy of recruiting workflows. When we break down the major phases of recruiting, some very specific, glaring pain points start to emerge. During sourcing, having multiple channels running simultaneously often causes resumes to just get lost in the shuffle or trapped in personal inboxes. In the screening phase, teams face these crushing manual workloads while desperately trying to balance speed, consistency, and accuracy. And then in engagement, coordination becomes incredibly fragmented. Does the hiring manager actually know what the phone screener learned? In my experience consulting with teams, usually the answer is no.
And that disconnect leads us right to the stark contrast between your idealized workflow and reality. We call this the shadow process. On the happy path, candidates progress perfectly linearly through your applicant tracking system with totally clear communication. But in reality, we all know what happens. An executive decides to bypass the entire flow and forwards a resume directly to a hiring manager through an informal back channel. If you only map the happy path, your expensive new AI tools will just sit idle while your high-priority candidates move through a completely unmeasured back channel. You absolutely must map both.
Which brings us to Section 3, finding handoffs and bottlenecks.
Let's clearly define a handoff. This is the exact moment work passes from one person, team, or system to another. Every single handoff is a high-risk zone for information loss. Think about it. When a recruiter forwards a resume with a quick note saying, "Hey, this person looks good," the actual underlying assessment logic is completely lost to the hiring manager. If the hiring manager disagrees, there's no structured dialogue, it's just a breakdown in communication.
Next, we have the bottleneck. This is basically the place where workflows go to die. This almost always happens at a decision gate where a scarce resource, like an overworked hiring manager, has to sit down and review multiple candidates. If you've got resumes sitting in an awaiting hiring manager review folder for 3 weeks, congratulations, you've found your bottleneck.
Let's keep the momentum going with Section 4, defining your decision points.
To map your workflow effectively, you have to ask a few hard questions. Who decides? What exactly is the decision? What are the explicit criteria? What information is available? And how is that decision recorded? If you ask your recruiters what criteria they use, some are going to say required skills, while others might admit they rely heavily on gut feeling. You must document these implicit criteria without judgment before you can ever hope to let AI augment them.
Moving into Section 5, measuring time and resources.
It's really vital to clarify the difference between two concepts here. Process time is the actual 30 minutes that a phone screen takes, but cycle time, that is the 3 entire days the candidate sat in the queue just waiting to be scheduled, plus those 30 minutes of actual work.
Most recruiting workflows are completely dominated by wait time rather than process time. And guess what? That massive chunk of wait time is exactly where your greatest AI opportunity lies. Take a look at this data from a real mid-sized tech company we worked with. They uncovered a staggering 300-hour weekly time drain across their teams. Out of 120 hours spent sourcing, 80 hours screening, 60 hours doing phone screens, and 40 on interviews, they realized nearly half of their screening time was wasted on obvious rejects. Literally, people missing non-negotiable requirements. This hard data pinpointed exactly where AI could step in and provide some immediate relief.
And speaking of relief, here's a fantastic example of the incredible power of targeted data. One company simply used AI to adjust biased language in their job descriptions before posting them. Because they actually understood their workflow and had measured their applicant sources beforehand, they instantly saw a massive 30% increase in applicant diversity. Now that is what we call intentional, measured AI integration.
Finally, wrapping up with Section 6, avoiding common mapping mistakes. As you map your own systems, please beware of these common anti-patterns. First up is the everything works fine myth. This happens when leadership draws up a beautiful, clean, simple diagram that completely masks the hidden complexities, the shadow flows, and the implicit decisions that are actually running their system. Then you have the trap of mapping without measuring, and of course, ignoring the informal process altogether.
To avoid those traps, remember this golden rule. Relying on an idealized vision from leadership will inevitably fail. You literally must get in the room with the actual workers on the ground. Keep a tally of how many times a recruiter says, "Well, it depends," or "I just kind of know when someone fits." Let me tell you, that right there is where the real unwritten criteria live.
Another massive pitfall is mapping without measuring. If you don't capture baseline quantitative metrics, things like average time to hire, stage advancement percentages, or assessment hours per hire before deploying AI, you will literally never know if the tool actually helped. You might just end up making a fundamentally bad process move a lot faster.
So, I'll leave you with this provocative thought. As you take this explainer back to your teams, look really closely at your shadow processes, your subjective decision gates, and your massive wait times. If you could eliminate one single bottleneck immediately, what is genuinely preventing you from fixing it today? The blueprint is right here in your hands. Get out there and map it.